Hang on.
I'm going to mute it, okay?
Yeah, go ahead and mute it. Okay. All right. So we live in what we radiate. If we live in peace, then we radiate peace. If we live in fear, we radiate fear. If we live in anxiety, we radiate anxiety. If we live in anger, we radiate anger. If we live in pride, we radiate pride. So everybody's world that they live in is different based on what you're radiating. We all live in the same world, but everyone's world is different. If you know that story of the elephant and, you know, these blind men that touch the elephant, and one person touches the feet and another the tail and another the trunk, and they're all describing it differently. And it's the same with us, you know. This blind man says the elephant is like a long snout, and another one says, no, it has thick feet, and everyone's holding a different part of the elephant. So it's the same thing. We're all looking at different things based on what we're radiating. So we can choose to up-level our consciousness. If you look at the map of consciousness, the chart of consciousness that I have sent you from Power versus Force by Dr. Hawkins, then you can see that below 200 are all the negative emotions. It starts with lower levels such as we start with shame and guilt, which is the lowest level. Shame is the lowest, then is guilt. Then we have things like apathy. A lot of depression happens at those stages, the apathetic stages, you know. And then we have things like fear. Fear resonates at 100. And then we have desire, which is 125. And often you'll find people stuck in the desire for something and they're not able to manifest it. And that's still a negative emotion. Or they're stuck in fear. But desire is higher than fear. Okay. And then higher than desire is anger. So the reason we feel good when we get angry, if we're afraid, the reason anger feels better than fear is it's a higher vibration. So anger is a step up from fear, but it's not positive yet. Positive is only when you come to courage and above. Okay. So that's why therapists sometimes want you to be able to move from fear to anger, because it's a positive step in the right direction, but you haven't yet reached your destination. So higher than anger is pride. And often you'll find the Navy, the Army, you know, a lot of these institutes are functioning at that level of pride, but it's still in the negative range. It still hasn't reached the positive, the neutral. The first neutral stage is courage. So wherever you are, you need to be able to move into a state of courage and make decisions from courage and above. Anything below that, you're stuck in these 7 decisions of the mind. Okay, so once you start identifying, then you begin to see, oh, that's a lie, and that's a lie, and that's a lie, and that's a lie, and that's an illusion, and that's a perpetration, and that's not true. And I'm calling my bluff on this belief system, you know. And as you start doing that, for those of us that are satsangis and we do our diary, we begin to have less and less checks in that area of the diary as you start clearing it up. And on Friday, I'll teach you a technique called Tapas acupressure technique, which helps you to clear out the belief system, but also to take ownership of your belief, and also to forgive yourself as well as the other person for having come from that place. It's a really good method, and it helps you to move to a higher level of consciousness. So it's very experiential. I really encourage you to come back on Friday so we can do that together. And then once we're done doing that, we're going to do the perpetration game so that you can see what was it I really believed to be true, and what is the real truth, and what's the difference between the two. Okay, so let's come back to the chart. We live in what we radiate. Whatever we resist persists. So you know how sometimes there's something niggling at the back of your mind and you don't want to pay attention to it, and you distract yourself with something, you know, you're watching TV, or you choose to have alcohol, or you choose to gamble, or you choose to eat as a way of distraction, or you choose to read books, watch movies, whatever it is, you know. You're resisting what your subconscious mind has brought up for you as part of your karma that you need to clear, and you're like resisting it and resisting it. And often it's things like emotional eating, or it may be things like other things that you do to resist it. So whatever we resist persists. So what we need to do in this kind of work is to be able to address what we're resisting rather than resist it. Okay, whatever we resist will persist, and it'll continue to radiate from us as a frequency, and we'll continue to attract more and more and more such incidents in our life until we're willing to see the truth. Okay, the only unhappiness is our need to be happy. You know, the fact that we need to be happy. So anxiety is a form of that need to be happy. I must get the answer to this. I must have this. I must do this. I must be this. And how do I do it? And that desperation, that need, is what's making us unhappy. Okay? When we let go and we allow spirit to function in our lives, things come to us very, very easily. So if things are very hard, you know that you're probably in that needy space. You need to let go of needing it, because the minute you let go of needing it, then God can give it to you. Okay. Then the next one, number 12, separation is an illusion. And there's no such thing as one person being transformed. Until we are all transformed, no one is totally. Okay. All right. In other words, things like the lockdown are a good thing, because it's making all of us spend more time looking inside of ourselves. And that's where the healing needs to take place. That's where the changes need to take place inside ourselves, so that as a world, we can come together in a much more interesting way. You know, I was watching a program called The Good Doctor. It's a series on TV, and they have it in on wiki.com also. It's a Korean story, which was translated into an English series. So Korean series, English series. And it's the same story, basically, storyline of an autistic person and how he ends up becoming a doctor and his life as a doctor, and how he responds to his life as a doctor, and how other people look at him, what difficulties he has. And as I'm looking at the decisions that are made in the hospital, I realize a lot of these decisions are based on fear. I'm looking at the chart of consciousness. I'm looking at these 7 decisions of the mind. And it's all about, you know, the hospital makes decisions, life or death decisions, you know, based on, well, we don't want to take the risk. What if it goes wrong? And what if the parents sue us? So it's the way the systems in the world have been set up are based on, this person could sue me, therefore I won't help, therefore, you know, so there's so many things as countries, as cities, as a globe, we have to do differently, so that we're not coming from these things about, oh, this person could sue me, or this person could do this, or we're coming from fear. The world resonates at a very low frequency, and part of our job is to help change ourselves. And as we change ourselves, we're going to be able to change the world on a larger scale, because we can only take responsibility for ourselves. And as we start changing, then people around us are going to start changing, because they will notice that we're different. The way we interact with them is different, because we're coming from a higher level of consciousness. So the first primary responsibility we all have is to come from a higher level of consciousness ourselves. Even Mahatma Gandhi, somebody came to him and said, hey, can you help my son to stop eating sugar? He said, come back in 2 weeks or 1 week or whatever. And the woman comes back a week or 2 later, and he tells the son, stop eating sugar. And she said, well, if that's all you were going to do, why didn't you do it 2 weeks ago? He said, well, 2 weeks ago, I was also eating sugar. So that's what it's about. We need to change ourselves. in order for the world to transform. And this is the transformation work that's required. This is where our energy needs to go at time of lockdown, where we have more time to look at our beliefs and our thoughts and say, what do I really believe? Is it really true? And am I happy believing all this nonsense, you know? So coming back to the universal principles, we live in what we radiate, whatever we resist persists. The only unhappiness is our need to be happy, and separation is an illusion. We are all one. We are all made from the same essence. Every single person on the planet is made from the same essence. And that essence is love. That's who we really are. That's our true identity. Our identity is not, I am Mr. So-and-so, Mrs. So-and-so, I am this profession, that's not our identity. Our identity is love. So separation is an illusion. We are all one energy, one essence, irrespective, and even animals, even plants, even everything, you know, all the different species, we're all one. So there's no such thing as one person being transformed. Until we're all transformed, no one is totally. To the degree that we experience sadness, pain, or disappointment is to the degree we expand our joy, peace, and love. So, you know how the mind says the purpose for living is to be non-disturbed? That's not true. That's not a true purpose for living. The purpose for living is to recognize who we really are. It's to know the truth. It's soul realization. It's God realization. It's to know that who we are inside is not necessarily what we have thought ourselves to be. Okay? And yeah, and that, so it doesn't matter if we have suffering. It doesn't matter if we have pain, because that pain, to the extent that we experience pain, is also to the extent that we experience the joy, you know? So it's okay sometimes if we have sadness, pain, or disappointment, because it's to the degree we've experienced that, is to the degree that we advance and transform and experience joy and peace and love. The mind thinks that the purpose for living is to be non-disturbed. The mind would rather be right than happy, but the soul would rather be happy than right. And that's the crucial difference. That is the key difference. That's the payoff we get. And just in order to be right, we've made our lives miserable. We are not our minds. The mind would rather be safe than be successful. The greatest risk of all in life is not risk, not taking any risk. So that's why when you're at that level of spirit, in the realm of spirit, you say, what am I willing to experiment with? Are you willing to experiment with meditation? Are you willing to experiment with recognizing that who you are is pure love inside? We can choose to be grateful at any moment, as gratitude is the healing energy of the body. Gratitude resonates at love. You know, we start with courage at 200, and we go to willingness, we go to acceptance. Reason resonates at 400, and love is 500. Joy is 540, and peace is 600, and then 700 to 1,000 is enlightenment. It's the stages of the enlightened people, okay? So we can choose to be grateful, because gratitude is a healing energy of the body. So anytime you're in any state that's negative, you can just uplift yourself into gratitude, and that's a quick way out of the negativity, all right? Number 21, the universe flows from being to doing to having. Let's go with the flow. So let's not say I have to, in order to, see, what we say is, I want to have this, therefore I must do this. Therefore I must be this. And it's the other way around. It's because I am love that I have the ability to do, and that I have the ability to have. It's reversed. You know, we often reverse how we live. We're living against the flow. We need to live with the flow. Unconditional love is who we are. That's our true identity, is unconditional love. We all have a divine purpose for living. We create our own world. Whatever world we live in, we've created it, and there are no victims. And behind every feeling is a positive intention. Okay, so we have 26 here, and I have not shared the other 4. There's 30 of them altogether. What I will do is I'll share the other 4 with you on the group, and we'll start by sharing those 4 on Friday. Okay, so let me see if I should do it today. Well, I'm getting to it today, so let me see if I can access it. Just give me a second. I'm going to access it if I can here. Okay. Yeah, I'm not able to find it right now. So,
Dee, you are muted. You have to unmute. We can't hear you.
can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, sorry. I can't find right now the pivot manual, so we'll do the other 4 on Friday. Okay. But look at what you have so far. And, you know, there are no victims. Everything that we're thinking we have attracted into our life. Maybe we were born into a family where they had certain belief systems, and those belief systems are in our DNA. But at some level, we have also chosen our families. If you read books like Michael Newton's books, Journey of Souls, Destiny of Souls, you will see that sitting up in heaven before we came to earth, we have chosen which family to be born into. We've chosen our mother, we've chosen our father, we've chosen our difficulties based on the lessons that our soul needed to learn, you know, in this lifetime. So at this level, it feels like I didn't choose my parents, I didn't choose to live this life, but in actual fact, at a soul level, we have chosen every lesson that we are learning in this lifetime. And I really want you to seriously consider that belief that there are no victims. We've created everything in our life, you know? So if that's the truth, then what do we want to stop believing? Any questions from anybody? How did you like this? Any comments?
It's very nice. It is very, very, very nice. We have a big homework now.
Yeah. Honestly, come on Friday with something you want to clear. It shouldn't be your biggest problem, you know, because you may have layers and layers that you need to clear on some of your biggest problems, you know. But come with something that, you know, you have maybe 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10, some stress around that. You know, it could be a pain in your body. It could be a belief that you have, you know, and you're not able to clear that belief. It could be anxiety, it could be fear, it could be anger, you know, whatever it is. Come with some problem that you want to resolve, but it shouldn't be your biggest problem, because let's learn first with something simpler first, okay? It could even be some headache or some stress or tension in your body. We can work on stuff like that, okay? All right. Any other comments or questions?
Yeah, it's really interesting. You know, I've learned a lot today. Like what you talked about, perpetration, which is something you think is true that isn't, or something you think you should do that you don't. It's really, yeah, and I actually enjoyed it. And there's some
Thank
other
you.
thing. Yeah, I'm now beginning to understand, you know, the levels of, the seven levels of mind, or or whatever you explain, like the anger, fear, guilt. Also, you explain like the body, the mind, the subconscious mind, ego, and the level of the soul and spirit. It was interesting. Thank you very much.
It gives you a perspective, doesn't it? It gives you a different perspective.
Yeah.
It makes you realize that
Yeah.
you have identified incorrectly with your mind as being you, and you're not. You're the witness of the mind. You're the soul watching the mind. And the TAT protocol, which we will do on Friday, will help you to recognize from the witness state, almost like you are sitting on like the mind is acting out on the stage like an actor, and the soul is sitting in the audience watching. And so you as a soul get to witness yourself in a, like almost in a puppet show. You know what I mean? Like that. It's like your mind has taken the lead and it's become the cart leading the horse, and we need to reverse it and let the horse lead the mind. And it's like the person in the audience has to start taking charge and stop letting the actor be in charge, you know? And it's how the masters say we need to befriend the mind. We need to say, okay, mind, your destination is the same, is on the way to my destination, you know? My destination is Sachkhand, which is the 5th level. Your destination is Brahman, which is the 3rd level. So let's just work together and go there, you know, and that's how we have to befriend the mind. Once you understand these different stages of the physical body, the emotional body, subconscious mind, most of it is all the emotional body, you know. Conscious mind, I'm important. You're getting into the mental body. Then you're going into that stage of the spirit, you know. So we want to transcend and recognize that who we are is spirit. And just like we see the masters living from that state of spirit, making decisions from that state of spirit, always staying in that state of peace, always staying in that state of love, to be able to be in that state, to be able to emulate them, you know. We have amazing role models. We're very fortunate. Most of us who are initiated are very fortunate, because not everybody gets to experience that kind of love in their life. You know, it's total unconditional love we get from spiritual masters, you know. And unconditional love is who we are, but we haven't experienced it. Maybe at certain times in our life, for a few brief moments, we experience it, but not all the time. And we have the potential to live that all the time. All the time. Thank you for your comments.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Anybody else have anything they want to add? All of this is thanks to Kalos. I would encourage you to go to the Kalos website, KALOS.org. And our founder of Kalos, Dr. Valerie Seaman Morton, she has some wonderful books you can read about this. And one of the books has the perpetration game. If we have time on Friday, we'll do the perpetration game, you know, after we do the tablets acupressure technique. And that'll help you to see it even more clearly. The glasses that you put on when you're able to look at the perpetration game is amazing. And you're like, wow. I remember the first time I recognized my perpetration, I was like, wow, I've been kidding myself this whole time. It's fascinating work. I've been doing it for 30 years now. You still keep working on it, you know, and as you do, you find your life becoming more peaceful, your relationships with other people becoming more peaceful, coming more and more from the place of love, you know.
I actually agree with you. That perpetration is something we really need to work on. It's very, very important. You know?
And this is the most important work we've come here to do. And that's, you know, when we say put a check in your diary, it's just about noticing something you believe to be true, which isn't true, you know, and letting it go.
What are the helping factors to find out, like, what we are going through exactly? How can we find out? Because so many times we are confused. We are in fear. We are in this. We are depressed. Many things are around us. Many things. Many thoughts are coming. Sometimes even I can't sit for 30 minutes. If I sit for meditation, 30 minutes thoughts are going. Then Simran, then this. But for recognizing this for ourselves, what will be the helping factors?
Well, when you do the tapas acupressure technique on Friday, okay, and you can also do it at home yourself. You can follow the video. I've sent the video to the group, okay.
Yeah.
There are 8 steps that you do. So either you know what you're thinking, or if you know, you can start making lists. Get a diary, okay, and start making a list of the things that you are thinking. What, like when you're going through your day, just watch yourself. As you start doing TAT, you'll start becoming witness. Start being in witness mode and write, what did I think just now? Write it down. What did I think just now? What did I believe just now? Write it down. As you start writing down more and more of your beliefs, okay, you will begin to, like a journal almost, you will begin to then say, is this true? Is this true? Is this true? Because now you're able to separate. This is my soul watching the puppet me. This is the puppet me, and this is the real me. And I'm watching me on the stage acting this way, and there's a part of me that knows that that's not me and that I have some control. The problem is we don't feel we have control over this part. This part is leading our life, and literally it's the cart before the horse. Okay, Kai, you need to leave. That's fine. Thank you so much. Thank you for attending. So the cart is before the horse, right? So we need to switch it around so that we give more and more and more power to the soul. So what you can do is start making a list of some of the things that you start to believe, that you believe, and do some TAT on it, do some EFT. That's clearing karma. Doing EFT is clearing karma. Doing TAT is clearing karma. You're clearing the belief system that you have, which is not true, until you come to a place of knowing something else, which is the truth. Because the truth is that I'm pure love. I'm pure unconditional love. If I'm not in that state of pure unconditional love, then I guarantee you there's something that I believe that's not true, that's causing me to be in that state of tension, that state of stress. So all this stress is coming from belief systems that are not true. So when you do tapas acupressure technique, you don't even have to know your belief. You don't even have to know what you believe. You know, in EFT, you have to know what you believe and you're tapping on it, even though I'm so anxious. You know you're anxious. In TAT, you don't even have to know. You go into tat pose like this.
Yeah.
I'll show you on Friday, and you can look at my video about this. It's my most popular video, is the tapas acupressure technique. Okay. So work with the video. Yeah, and you can just say all this. If you don't know, if you're in a state of confusion and you don't even know what you're thinking, you don't know, and you're too overwhelmed, you're too frightened, you're too anxious, everything is a mess in your mind, okay? Just go like this and say all this. All this. Meaning, sab kuch, everything. Everything. So then what you're doing is you're surrendering it to the divine at the third eye. So for those of us who have a spiritual teacher, we're surrendering it to the spiritual teacher. For those of us who believe in God, we're just surrendering it to God. And this is a technique of witness and surrender. Surrender and witness, surrender and witness, surrender. And you feel so relaxed at the end of this because you've given it all to God. You say, I don't want it anymore. It's kind of like the diary process. It's saying, I'm experiencing anger, dear God, and I don't want to experience this anger. Please help me, relieve me of this anger, because this is not the truth. I know this is not the truth of who I am. So please, dear God, take it away. And here you surrender it step by step, like a pizza, like pieces of the pie. Okay? And we'll go over this on Friday. We'll do it one by one. Come with a problem and we'll work on clearing it. If you want to invite some friends, you can invite them to also experience it for themselves. Because there's no protocol that I have found that's as empowering as the TAT protocol that actually helps you to shift to that state of unconditional love in the process of doing it. Yeah. That's a very good question. Thank you for your question. So I hope I was able to answer somewhat, Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah, already time.
Oh, yeah. Satsang time? Okay. All right. Okay. All right, everyone. Thank you very much. So let's get
Thank you so much, Didi. It was really nice.
You're all very welcome.
Thank you.
See
Yeah,
you on
thank you very
Friday
much.
at 11
Bye,
o'clock.
bye, everybody.
Okay. Bye-bye. All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Dayu, thank you.